Hello.
Welcome back. Good day. Guten Dayen.
Good
I don't know how to
adventure.
say that.
Guten Tag.
You guys missed
That's right.
Naked Succubus, but
What?
What? What'd you say?
no, I'm talking to Keedron and Atlas.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I have a plan for them. The party is split right now.
Oh God.
The party is like
Very
way
sorry.
split.
It is not my fault this time.
I don't think it's anybody's fault. I think it's actually Atlas's fault.
Well,
Sure.
it's Openy's fault.
Because
Yeah.
I guess it is technically Olfney's fault.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
I have no
I'll take
idea. I wasn't here.
You didn't
Who
watch
knows?
the video? You just
No.
poster on?
I'm
trying to give him shit, please
but
don't
it's on Twitch.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always on Twitch.
It's always on Twitch. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
14 days.
Well, not always. Then for a little bit.
Oh wow.
I do
It's
move
always
them
on Twitch
over.
for 14
I just take some time to make thumbnails. When I
days.
make
Mhm.
it's raw.
Cool. So lots of things happened. Do you guys want to give it a go, or you want me to do my typical
Dang, man.
recap?
No,
Okay.
you can go right ahead.
So essentially, after
Question.
having
It's on the
received
second part.
Atlas's,
Wait. We're missing something. Hold on. Last week on what the hell are we playing?
Yeah, you
D&D.
got yeah.
Last week
I
on
almost-
D&D.
Playing
I almost
Battlecry or
said
die.
D&D Beyond. I fucked it up. Never mind. Okay, reset and go.
Last
Which
time
generation
on
were you?
D&D.
Both Johnny
Oh, sorry.
Copyrighted music.
No, if you were to record my voice and then take it and put it next to the music, it probably sounds nothing like what they're playing. So,
Oh no, I mean
I've changed it
the
enough.
music itself was plagiarized to begin with.
Oh, cool.
So
Sweet.
like that's why I like the Dragon Ball Kai. This is a complete anecdote. The Dragon Ball Kai stuff that they made, they
What
did
have
it
I
because
done?
the music that was in the
It
one that aired
starts.
on Toonami was all plagiarized.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
All right.
Damn.
it
Fun
sucks.
fact for everybody
I
on
love
Twitch.
that music.
Yeah, I do too, actually. Okay, so upon receiving his new arms, Atlas, standing in his bedroom at his parents' house in Waterdeep, when going through the process of attaching the new arms, whatever, and when suddenly there begins to form some green sparks in the essentially the silhouette of Ulfni in the center of the circle that is not surrounded by, but has on either side of it this weird brass-looking contraption, right? This bronze copper contraption, and so this green kind of like static begins to formulate in that area or whatever, and then there is a very bright flash. Now, Atlas and Kidron, as you guys are standing in the room, you're standing there with Bologna, and going through this process. So as you guys are you've reattached your arms or whatever, Atlas, you've taken a couple of swings at Ricard just to give them a try out. When suddenly this crackling begins to happen. And so as this crackling begins to happen, you guys kind of move over to the side. In the center of your bedroom, there is this like 3 or 4 foot in diameter circle scorch mark that has this kind of copper like coiled contraption with these sapphire looking crystals that begin to emit this green electrical pulse that travels up and down the coils and then begins to jump into the center of this circle. As they begin to jump into the circle, it becomes so condensed. The electrical static, the sparks, and everything become so dense that they begin to form the silhouette of Ulfni. And then there is this bright flash, right? So this bright flash happens. When the bright flash happens, Atlas, Kidron, and Bologna with you appear in a different location than what you were standing. So I'm just going to give you a quick view of the place that you are. Let me just see if there's anything I need to take out of it real quick. There is. There are things that I need to take out of it real quick. Okay. I'm going to drop your characters in real quick. Now, for the rest of our, while I'm doing this, for the rest of our party, you guys had made your way through this conglomeration of rooms that exist around the perimeter of this rotating spherical room that lies in the center, controlled by a cog on the wall. You guys had been navigating through each of the rooms, encountering various, an assortment of deadly things or potentially deadly things. When you guys come across a particular female who seductively tries to entice you guys in. You notice that she has a particular journal with her that gives a bunch of details about some of her encounters with other people that she's had briefly, but one at length, given her loneliness in this place. And you guys then begin to make your way back to one of the rooms that had just a massive amount of swarms that existed. Excuse me. Massive amount of swarms that existed inside this room that seemed to be held in the room magically. You guys cast Skodrick, thanks to Skodrick casting Spirit Guardians, you guys begin to make your way through the room unharmed and out the other side, where you find a set of stairs that lead upward and curve to the left around the outside of this, or the outside of this room. So that's where you guys had made it to last time. Now, Atlas, Bologna, and Kidron, when you guys appear, you appear seemingly in the center of a circle that looks very similar to the one that was in your room. There is a brass copper looking apparatus on either side of the circle of scorch on the floor. And as you appear here, there you kind of feel like if Atlas, if you had hair, or Kidron, you feel like the hair on your body begin to lie down, like it's been standing up and it's begun to lie down again. Atlas, you get a very strange sensation that you know would feel the same as if you had hair standing up. So when you come through, Kidron, you'll likely recognize this. And I don't have the... let's see. Let's see if I can find something. So Atlas, even though you've never seen this space before, there seems to be an air of familiarity about it, though you're not 100% sure that you can pinpoint exactly what that familiarity is. Did not realize that was
interesting.
And I'm trying to find something to represent the little apparati. I'll just make some marks on the floor. I'm just going to make some freehand little drawings on the floor here to represent our apparati, if that's the right terminology. There's one there, and there's one there.
Cool.
So this is where you guys are. Now, Kidron, make a history check for me.
Okay. History. Audio history. Again.
You know what? I'm just going to flip back over to the other map, and we'll just work it. We'll just work it. It'll work. We'll work it. It's going to work. Okay. So you guys make your way across the room, right? Avoiding all the bugs or whatever. And it seems that the swarms of bugs are held in, separated from the stairwell that you guys approach and enter into, again, by the same magical kind of field or whatever that was, or that existed on the other side through the door through which you guys had entered. So you begin to make your way up this landing, and it travels to the left. And so you're walking up, and the steps are fairly shallow. Now, when I say shallow, I don't mean depth, like how far they are from the edge. I'm talking about their height. They're pretty short steps. So these are atypical from what you would find. It's not the standard like 4 to 6 inch height or whatever. You guys, as you make your way up that stairwell for a time, you approach a landing, or you begin to approach a landing, and you see that there's a wall sconce on either side of the opening, and it is flickering. And it's flickering on a landing that, as you see, it's fairly easy to see on the other side of this landing, there is a rail that runs across, like a handrail of sorts. The handrail is probably 20 feet down the landing from. No, I'm not talking about like down. I'm talking about 20 feet out from the opening at the top of this stairwell.
Okay, cool.
So Atlas, Kidron, and Bologna, you guys appear in this space. Kidron, you've made a history check. Now, you recall that there was a certain point in which you had been involved with a space very similar to this one. When you were involved with that space, you recall it having been something of Ulfne's working. Uh-oh.
Testing. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yep.
I can hear you.
All right.
Maybe
Yeah,
try.
yeah.
Maybe try dropping and popping back in.
I'll do
But
that.
do you-
Or
I don't know.
You're back.
Yeah.
Right this second.
Mav,
Yeah,
click
it
on
was good for a little bit.
Avery's.
Oh yeah, make sure he's not muted.
Yeah. Well,
Make sure it
you heard
didn't
him
mute
earlier.
him.
Oh, it does it right. Okay. Checked.
All right, so Bologna is standing next to you, Atlas, and you feel her kind of cling to your arm, and she's looking around this space, and she's kind of in awe. She's very fascinated by some of the things that you're seeing. So make a perception roll for me.
Okay.
And Kidron, you can make a perception check as well.
Perfect.
It got me a good old 6.
Okay, so Skadric,
I
Ricard,
see.
and Roland, you guys can make perception checks for me also.
I see everything.
A nat 1.
11.
How about Bologna?
Oh,
Oh yeah, we can roll for
Scotch, don't you get for
Oh,
advantage
that's
on
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bologna.
Oh, and
14.
that? There you go. Not terrible.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got a 7. Terrible.
Just pursue a dragon, get advantage.
Well, technically, I have not brought her back out.
Oh man. Oh yeah. forgot
after
about
going
that.
through the room.
Ah.
Unless I felt like we were safe. DM, you said we were at the top of at the top of the stairs, and there was a landing. You said something about being 20 feet away.
Yeah. So essentially, where you are, the stairs have kind of continuously curved to the left ever so slightly,
Hmm.
and as you traveled up the steps, it went for some time. There was quite a bit of stairwell there.
Yeah.
Um, so as you reach this one particular portion of stairwell, you notice that there's an opening at the top of this stairwell. And as you're looking at the opening or whatever, there's like 20 foot of floor between the opening um, and this handrail that you see that kind of goes across, and it goes across the entirety of the opening that you see from the point that you're at.
Okay. So we're at like the top of the stairs, and then there's a
Right.
landing that's
Yes.
20 foot across to a railing. Then yeah, I would have summoned my pseudo dragon once we got
Okay.
there.
Sure thing.
So
So Atlas, go ahead and make a roll for on Bologna's behalf, and I will add her.
holy
Double
Um,
20.
it's a
20/20
23 for
vision.
the pseudo dragon.
Wow,
Okay.
Battlecry or die.
Uh,
I'll roll a d20 for her.
I'll just have her kind of hop off,
She only got an 8.
bring her out, and let her kind of hop off and fly out and see if she sees something.
Okay.
Or what she sees.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Atlas, Kidron, and Bologna, you guys are looking around the room, just kind of taking things in or whatever. You notice that um, there are 3 grates in the floor. These grates seem to be like draining grates. You notice that the floor is slightly slanted all around each of the grates, and you do hear the sounds of like some kind of sewer or septic or something like that is under uh, uh, 2 of them. But you take note that one of the grates, the one that is southwardmost in the room, is open. It appears to have been open and set up on a hinge. Um, and so it's just kind of hanging open. At the southwardmost portion of the room, against the wall, there is this strange looking device that has just an assortment of pipes and wheels and cogs and this plating that has been added all around it. And it has some steam that is blowing out certain portions of it that you see. Um, it looks to be about 2/3 completed. As you're looking at it or whatever, it almost still looks like a puzzle of sorts that's only been put together 2/3 of the way. Uh,
Okay.
then over to essentially, if you're looking southward to the right of that, you note that there is this strange looking chair that has also assortments, an entire assortment of different apparati just kind of attached to the chair itself, with this piping that's coming out of the wall and attaching to the back of the chair. You see over to the side, there is a large table. This table has quite a bit of marring on it, and you see that there are a couple of tools on the table, and then there are a couple of tools that are scattered about the floor around the table. Um, you note that there is a doorway on the southern end. Let me kind of reveal a little more. Uh, So this little curvature here in the southwestern corner there, that's a doorway. So you notice the doorway there, and you notice that there is an opened archway in the northwest corner of this room. Directly up above you, there is this strange spherical chandelier that hangs in the center of the room, giving this white illumination that kind of shines about the room. To the right, there are these large, incredibly large canisters or containers of sorts, that seem to have water flowing in them. You hear the kind of the swirl of water in a couple of them. Um, And then there is an ornamental on the north portion of the room. There's an ornamental globe that appears to be made of some sort of crystal or glass. Very strange looking. Okay, so Ricard, Skodrick, and Roland, you guys begin to approach this landing, and you kind of look out, and it gives the appearance of being a balcony. So this hand railing travels from the left side of the opening to the right. So and Ricard, your pseudo dragon's kind of projecting all of this to you as it's flying out to check everything out. So there's a wall sconce on either side. There are 2 chairs that exist in this particular portion. The chairs are high back leather chairs, very fancy. This nice red color with this like curving arch at the top of each of the chairs. In the next to each of the chairs, there's a very very small table. It appears to be something that's just like a side table. It's not big enough to have any function of like writing or anything, but you know, something that would be convenient to set a mug on or something of that sort. And then you note that there is a lever on the wall to the right. So like you go through the opening, you look to the right, you know, there's a lever on the wall. In beyond the railing, as the pseudo dragon kind of flies out and over, there is this vastness, this vast darkness. But as the pseudo dragon's kind of flying around, approaching, almost approaching the, you know, you kind of get the sense that she's about, you know, 60, 70 feet from you. There is some sort of strange post or pole, some kind of wooden trunk that sticks up in the center of this vast space. Looking down in through all of the space, there seems to be some sort of darkness. Now, as the pseudo dragon's kind of flying in this space or whatever, the sounds that are coming from this room are fairly audible. There's a little bit of an echo there, and you hear the clacking and clicking of bone on stone.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so Atlas, Kidron, and Bologna. How would you guys like to proceed?
I just want to inspect that chair.
Okay.
Seems
Yeah,
interesting.
make an investigation check.
All right. 16.
Okay. So you go over and inspect the chair. Oh, I didn't give you guys control of y'all's players. Atlas, I'm going to give you control of Bologna's token too.
Okay, cool.
And then Gidrin, here is okay, so you go over and inspect the chair, whatever, and as you're looking at it, it seems strange. It almost presents the ideology of being some form of torture device, though you're not 100% sure. It doesn't look like there's anything in particular that causes pain, but you do know that there are wrist and leg straps there. As you're looking at it or whatever, you note that what before seemed to be some sort of decorative, some sort of decor on the wall, traveling from behind the chair to behind whatever this other device is or this mechanism is. You kind of get the feeling that the two are connected somehow. As you're looking, the pipes that kind of weave in and out of the wall, and some of the levers and things that you see seem to kind of interconnect between the chair and this other device.
Can I figure out how to use it?
You can make an intelligence check and try.
Okay.
But no, yeah, go ahead and make an intelligence check. That's cool. Okay, so Scodrick, Ricard, and Roland. So Ricard, all of these images have been projected back to you.
Right. So,
From your pseudo dragon, and then after having made that pass, your pseudo dragon kind of comes back.
all right. So I'm gonna tell her, go over with everything that I saw to everybody, and go. I think that large open area is possibly where that ship is. That's infested with undead. I wonder what that lever does. I'm gonna walk up there and see what's going on.
Sure. So you make your way out, and you see that what was masoned stone work for the staircase, it's what the staircase had consisted of, fades into like this tile, and it's a pretty snazzy tile floor. It's pretty nice. As you walk out onto this balcony or whatever, Scodrick and Roland, uh, Scodrick and Roland, I imagine that you guys would go with him as he's walking out onto the balcony.
Yeah.
Cautiously, yes.
Okay.
Want me to stand by the lever just in case you want me to find out what it does?
Mm,
Roland, you want to check it and see if there's some sort of trap attached
Yeah,
to it?
I'll do that.
I'm
Okay.
gonna walk over to the railing. The railing kind of overlooks the vastness, right?
Yes, absolutely.
When it was,
And I'm gonna
Oh.
pull out the torch I have in my bag of holding, and
Okay.
light it with prestidigitation and throw it
Okay.
and
do I check?
see what I see.
Okay.
So
So the torch, falls into the vastness. Make a
perception.
either a strength or a dexterity check, um,
Okay.
to see, I guess, to kind of get a feel of how far you throw the torch.
It's a 12 dexterity.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
not too bad. So, as the torch kind of, flies off over the side, you see it twirling through this vastness or whatever, and then you see it kind of hits some sort of like wood, and then slides down the wood and uh, hits this side, some sort of side something. And then kind of comes to rest there.
What does the wood resemble? Can I roll a perception?
Sure, yeah,
Uh,
make a perception
okay.
check.
It's an 18 perception roll.
So looking at the wood or whatever, and then having the kind of mercantile background or whatever, merchant type background or whatever, some of the things that you are fairly familiar with are, travel among ships, travel among, carts and things like that. So in looking at the wood, the way that it's fashioned, it resembles that of a ship. Um,
So that kind
Absolutely.
of fits with what I was already possibly thinking this might be.
Right. There are only some slight differences from what you would see on a typical ship
Yeah.
to what this is.
So I'll look back and not holler, but make sure Roland and Skodrick are listening and
Sure.
paying attention, and say, "It's the ship is down there.
Um,
Mm.
Roland, you can
two
make your
corridors are
investigation
connected."
check as well.
Okay. Well, if I'm checking for traps, are you thieves' tools for that or no? Or is that just disarming?
You can use these
Okay.
tools if you'd
For
like.
Okay.
for checking, or did you find one and you're disarming it?
That's what I was trying to clarify, but I can
Yeah.
roll either one. I just didn't know.
So roll an investigation check also.
Okay.
Um,
18.
so as you're kind of looking at this lever or whatever, and you see that it has like this strange cover plate on it, right? And so, but it's incredibly fancy cover plate. So using your tools or whatever, you're working the cover plate and you manage to get it loose. In the process of doing so, you don't seem to take note of there being the existence of any kind of uh, machinations that would cause harm to this lever's immediate user. Um, as you kind of get the cover plate off or whatever, you see into like this space, and the space that is kind of behind or inside of where this lever recedes into the wall. Um, you see a couple of like wheels. Like you pull the lever, it turns one wheel, that turns another wheel, and you see that there's like this pulley system with some incredibly thick rope that goes up into this hole that is above the lever and disappears up in the hole. Now, when I say incredibly thick rope, I'm talking about something that's like this. It's probably, if you were to go to Moe's and get a home wreck, like it's like massive.
Pulley system for the ship.
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk over that way towards Godric and Roland and go,
Okay.
"What'd you find?"
You asking me or Skodrick? Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know that this seems to be the way to, I guess, move the ship or move the. You say move the ship or move the platform we're on? I'm just making sure I'm understanding this right. It says a pulley system, but I'm just making sure.
So it's a pulley system that seems to rise up into this hole.
Okay.
As far as determining where that rope goes, you're unsure of.
Okay.
Well, the way I see it, we've got two ways to go. We can either go down, back around, and down into that cavern with a ship that, the best I can tell, is in the Underdark, because I don't know many places above ground that are this vast and underground like this, along with being full of the crap that we've seen so far. Or we pull that lever and see what happens.
Feel like the options kind of all led to this room anyway.
DM, when he says something about the Underdark, would I be able to confirm or give any kind of, I guess, credence to that suspicion?
The only thing that you can recall or whatever is that you guys had encountered that one particular moss in that one room that seemed to have originated from the Underdark. Now, your knowledge of it existing outside of the Underdark was only ever in a case where somebody went to retrieve it and brought it back with them, but you haven't known any other cases of it naturally occurring outside of that.
Okay.
Is it possible that that room was manufactured to be that way? Possible. Not 100% sure.
Okay, but it was just that room, you're saying?
Right, it was just the one room.
Gotcha.
Okay, so Kidron and Atlas. So Bologna has made her way, we'll say that she's made her way over to like this spherical, like glass globe looking thing. And she is kind of like spinning it and looking at it. And she's noting that, it has essentially it's a globe, it's a world map or whatever. And she's incredibly fascinated by it. Kidron, what are you wanting to do right now?
Just remain aware and kind of just scanning and being cautious, honestly, making sure that I don't get too far behind.
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah, sure thing.
I only rolled a 9 to like see if I could get the levers to work and stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
On the intelligence roll.
Okay. So you do hear there are a couple of like wheels that start to spin for a second, but then kind of stop and die down. And you're noting that this particular device seems to be, because it's lacking, because it's unfinished or whatever, you feel that perhaps it's not, it's not going to function properly anyways.
Okay, cool. So what's this lever that's up here in the northwest corner? Or is that even a lever?
It is. It is, and it does a very specific thing.
I might just pull it.
Okay.
I mean,
Could go
curiosity.
Yeah.
amazing or horribly.
Um,
Oh God.
did you say that?
I'm gonna pull it.
I take my shield off my back.
Jesus.
I'm ready.
All right. So, when you pull the lever, you hear echoing from the hallway in the northwest corner a very loud series of clicks and clacks and um, steel on stone, and
Hmm.
you see or you hear a couple of whirs of water flowing through pipes, and so, but you don't see anything happen immediately in the room that you're in.
Okay, cool. So this like doorway thing down here, it's still the same. Nothing happens. Okay.
Right? Yep, nothing's happened. Okay.
So that like little machine down there, is it does it seem like it's connected to the chair? The red machine?
Yeah, that's the one that's connected to the chair, or seemingly
Okay.
is connected to the chair.
All right, guys. So I think we're done with this room. Do you want to venture forth? Bologna, Keedron?
Absolutely.
I think that's what we should do. Try to get out of here. So I'm gonna move away.
Okay.
Yeah, screw it. I'll come into this room and see what's going on in here. Or I see a little desk. For that.
Yep. Yeah, so it's just basically there are two doors. There's one little desk in the corner there. It is meant for writing, so it is a writing desk, but there are no like really drawers or anything underneath it. And then that's it. And then you note that there is a door in the two locations.
Okay, cool. So there's nothing in the desk or on top of it to like read.
Right. It's just a blank. It's just empty.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Then I'm leaving this room.
Okay.
And I'll come in here to what looks like a festival hall.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Skodrick, Roland, and Ricard. How are you guys proceeding now?
I'm gonna look at Skodrick and sounds like Roland's in favor of pulling the lever.
No, I was just giving information. If someone else wants to pull the lever, that's completely fine. Or
I
the pull,
kinda-
what's
Skodrick
just a
pulls
pulley
it.
system? Is it a lever or whatever?
Okay.
It doesn't matter. I can't do
Skodrick
anything
just
about it
pull
now.
the lever.
Skodrick
Yeah.
pulls it.
And I
Okay.
kinda-
Roland braces
I
himself.
regardless of what happens, I kind of grin at Skodrick and go, I like you, Skodrick.
Jesus. Chaotic good. Jesus Christ.
Okay, so there begins from the depths of wherever in this space, there begins to be a rumble, a very, very loud rumble, and the entirety of the room begins to shake. So first, I need the three of you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Yep.
Um,
If I lose my footing at all, I'm just going to use my boots.
It begins to shake
6.
Oh,
quite violently, actually.
Of course.
I've got a 19.
15.
Okay.
Can I, if I see anybody like going down, I want to try and help them.
Okay.
Basically, being that I'm smiling and looking at Skodrick.
Jesus, I expected
you
to
can make
greater than
another.
this.
You make another dexterity saving check, I guess, to see if you can grab him and keep him from
A-
tumbling
a-
over.
A dex. You said saving check. You mean a dex
Saving
check or saving throw?
Yeah,
Okay.
just do a dexterity check. That's fine.
Just
So
dex
we
check.
see him falling over or falling off of something.
No. He's just falling down.
It's
Okay.
18 dex
The
check.
oh, good. Cool. Yeah. So you managed to grab him and
Oh, thank you.
Whoa there, Skodrick.
keep him
Thank you,
from hitting the ground. So it's rumbling quite violently now. As it's doing so, the ceiling above you, there are a few rocks that begin to fall from the ceiling above you.
Hmm.
Oh,
Um,
snap.
and it begins to increase a little bit, but nothing incredibly large falls. And then you see a crack of light begin to appear in the ceiling.
It's a good idea.
And the rumbling is really quite violent at this point.
DM, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I hate to interrupt your world building, but I have an
Go ahead.
important question
Yeah.
that I meant to ask earlier. How far was that wooden structure that I believe to be a boat from the railing? As far as not
Oh,
down. Well, I'd like to know down as well, but I mean like straight out from the railing.
okay. So it's about 30 feet out.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Hey, did I have any idea how far down?
It's a pretty good ways down. It's like 40 or 50 feet down.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So this rumbling is going on, and so there's this small, very small crack of light that you first see appear in the center of the ceiling, and then that crack begins to spread in one direction, north and south of the room, or I'm sorry, east and west of the room. And as it spreads, it then begins to separate, and you see the light beginning to spread in perpendicular to the original line, right? And so essentially what it's making is it's making like one line across, and then there are like 2 or 3 lines now that are crossing that one. Now, as this happens, the magical darkness that once was begins to fade, and you begin to be able to see further and further out into the room. The ceiling, the crack in the ceiling at this point, has grown very, very, or is beginning to grow very large. As it does so, you guys notice that there are things falling into the room other than rock. Make a perception check, everybody. And I imagine, Ricard, your pseudo dragon is still out, so you can make a
Yes,
perception check
yes.
with your pseudo dragon as well.
22.
Yeah. Actually, while this was
17.
going on, I would use the shield cantrip for my pseudo dragon
Okay.
as well. So I'll roll that die for. That's 3
Okay.
hours. Gets a +1.
Okay. Cool. Very good.
So perception for me, and then I got an 11. Pseudo dragon got an 8.
Okay. So Kidron and Atlas, go ahead and make another perception check for me for this room.
Okay.
Good old 15.
Okay. There's a very large series of devices running along the north side of the north wall in this room. Each of them blowing some sort of steam from various portions, but they all seem to be working in sequence. So the one furthest to the left triggers, and then the next one, and then the next one, and they seem to be working in sequence like that. there's an incredibly large table in the center of the room that now has what seems to be some rotting food for the most part across the table, but you do note that there's one portion of the table at the end that the food is fresh still. The back there are the northwest corner of the room. There are quite a bit of little trinkets and things. Little there are a couple of spheres that seem to have some sort of energy kind of twirling about inside of them. You note that there is like a spyglass on the table. There are quite a few pieces of parchment on this table that have a bunch of notes like scribbled. There are a couple of what appear to be like designs drawn that were scribbled out. Um,
What do the designs look like?
so as you're looking through the various designs or whatever, you're seeing there are a couple of things that seem to be like you see one that's like a horse-drawn cart, but it appears to have some sort of ballista-looking thing sticking up out of the back of it. You see a couple of other items of similar sort or assortment.
Nice. Okay.
You also note that towards the northwest corner of the room there is another opening with another archway.
What's at that bar?
That's the bar. The trinkets and everything that I was talking about. That's what's at the bar.
Oh, okay.
So it's not
Any
necessarily a bar.
gems?
You do note that a couple of the devices have crystals attached in them.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna take some of this stuff. I mean, as far as I know, I'm in a dungeon.
Okay. So Kidron, you're looking at all of the room, and suddenly there is. Oh, did we lose him?
I don't know. Can you
Yeah.
hear us, Mav? Oh, there he is. Okay.
We don't hear you though. I don't know if you're muted.
Yeah,
I am
there you
muted.
go.
Can't
Oh,
hear
there
you.
you go.
So that's because I was muted.
Okay. So Kidron, you're looking out at all of the room or whatever in detail, and as you're looking at all of the room in detail, you suddenly remember that you were in this space before. That this is a place that is in Burdusk, that you are intimately familiar with. This is
Fantastic.
Ulfni's primary workshop. Now, as you guys are standing there, you hear a popping sound happen that seems to originate from the room that you guys just came from,
Okay.
or at least in the direction of the room that y'all just came from. Okay, so Skydrick, Ricard, and Roland, you guys are standing there and kind of looking out into the space. Let me double check and see what y'all's roles were. Okay, so Skydrick, you note that as this floor begins to open or whatever, the space above is very well lit, very well lit, and a very large canopy bed comes tumbling down from the space above. You see a large rug that is kind of beginning to sag from the space above, and one half of it kind of like flops down, and then it slides off into the space below. And then you see all of you guys. You'll see there is clinging to one of the sides, seemingly a person.
Can we make any kind of details out
Someone
about
with,
who this is?
it's really hard to tell from this distance. He's not incredibly high up, so the ceiling above you guys is not like super high up. In fact, it seems like you guys are more towards the ceiling than you are the floor. Like you're closer to the ceiling than the floor. So from where you guys stand or whatever, um, the ceiling is probably only like 25 feet up. But the guy that's hanging, he's hanging on the opposite side of the room. So
How
he's a
far
pretty good
across
distance
is
away.
that? Or do I even see it? See him?
I definitely pointed out
So
if I
Ricard,
see it.
you don't see him.
I would point it out
Uh,
as soon as I saw
okay. So as soon as Godric points him out to you, you see him.
You think we should help that guy? We don't know who it is, but
Yeah,
just
but we
curious.
don't know.
Yeah,
I
I know
would say
things are pretty
yes.
dangerous down here, so I don't know.
I would say yes. I don't think if he's
Okay,
an average person, he won't survive the fall.
I'm just gonna fly over cautiously. Like,
Okay.
don't make any sudden moves. Just gonna come over here and try to assist you, sir.
Okay. Um,
Can I cast before he leaves? Can I cast guidance on Roland?
okay.
Like,
Thank you, sir.
Bahamut be with you. Help him.
Okay, so as you fly up to where he is dangling in where the large canopy bed fell in.
Mhm.
You, as you're flying up or whatever, you see the ceiling opening in this one particular portion, and as you see the ceiling opening, um, there is a chair, a very elaborate, very decorative, high value, seemingly like if you had to pay for a chair on a scale of how much a chair would cost, this one would be towards the top of the scale, right? It
Third,
clatters to the edge and falls off and drops into the space below. As you
Uh-huh.
fly up to where the guy is, he's holding on for dear life, right? As he's holding on for dear life, you see what he's holding on to is this. So the surface above that he's holding on to is black marble. You kind of begin to look into the space that's above him, and
Wait a
there is
second.
white stone, white masoned stonework.
Do I recognize this?
Make a history check and see.
Oh my god. Oh, do I know? I think I know who this is. History check, you said?
Yeah, make a history check just to see if
Fucking
you
A, it's you.
recall.
I mean, come on.
Wait.
Can I make that
no.
with advantage, please?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure I know what this is.
On the north
Oh
wall,
shit.
there is a fireplace.
12.
my
Okay, I
God.
have to know what this is.
Oh, it just hit
I
me. It
inspected the
just
shit out
hit
of this
me.
room. I inspected the shit out of this room.
You did. So it is exactly what you think it is.
Oh my god.
As you're in this room, you look above you, the ceiling above you even still begins to open. So as you're looking up or whatever, there begins to be this crack. Now, there are much larger rocks that begin to fall. It's as if this portion of the ceiling has not been opened for a century, potentially,
Mm.
and has just had, massive amounts of buildup over time or whatever. So it begins to open to a certain extent. Once it gets to that certain extent, a landslide happens, and dirt, soil, rocks, everything begin to pour into the space that you're in.
Just imagine how much money got wasted on the construction. Okay. I can't remember this guy's name. Is it who I think
Oh,
it
it's not.
is?
No, it's not that guy.
Not that guy.
That's not that
Okay.
guy.
I don't recognize this guy at all.
No, you don't recognize this
Okay.
particular.
Okay. Cool. 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 All right. Uh, do I make it up to him? Am I up to him yet? Or
Yeah,
no?
you can make it up to him. Yeah.
I'm gonna reach a hand out and see if he takes it. Or
Yeah, it doesn't take much for him to
okay.
be persuaded to grab a hold of you. So, and he's an average size. He's an average size male, but you find that you don't really have a hard time carrying him. Um,
And I'm just gonna take
Now,
him up.
which direction are you going up? Or are you going
Yeah,
down?
I'm just gonna take him up to where he was hanging on to. Essentially, if there's anywhere to stand in that room still, or is that whole room
So,
gone?
except for at this point, except for like a 5 foot space around the entire perimeter of the room, the floor has completely receded.
Okay. Do I see
Um,
the doorway
you do.
to the? Okay,
You
I
do.
gotta take him to the doorway
Okay.
just to
Okay.
set him somewhere.
All right. Now,
Has
uh,
the landslide subsided,
uh,
Yeah.
or is there
so
still?
it's pouring in at a pretty good amount, and continues.
Guard, it's been an honor.
So you
I
guys,
look at Skodrick and say, "Stay close to me."
um, so you guys see
And
as Ricard and Skodrick. Uh-huh.
DM, can I
Yeah,
reach in my
I get
bag of
close to
holding
him.
and make sure I have the stone from Ish in my hand?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Like get a
Um,
hold, put a hand on
sure.
Skodrick's shoulder,
Um,
like grab a hold of him.
yeah, sure. Okay, so as the magical darkness kind of subsides, you guys see, Roland's like flying up or whatever towards where this person is dangling, to help him out or whatever, and then you see dirt, rocks, and things begin to pour through into the space below. Now, as you're looking, it is much easier to see the space below. What you see, um, walking around in the space below, are about 20 or 30 skeletons, um,
Hmm.
all dressed seemingly as pirates of sorts. They are walking around this massive bulk that exists in the center of the room. Um, this massive bulk uh, is a ship. It has a mast, it has all of the workings of a ship, except that there are no sails. And around the outside of the ship, there is this giant iron band that seems to wrap around the entirety of the bulk itself. Um, the iron band at 4 points, which would be seemingly like the corners of the ship, are these incredibly large crystals. Um,
Arcana check,
sure.
please.
As you, yeah, sure, go for it. As
Holy.
the four
Yeah.
crystals come into view, you note that the two immediate ones that you see that are closest to you have large cracks in them. Um, so, uh,
That's a 12 Arcana check. Do I know anything about
um,
exactly what it is?
you definitely get the idea from seeing everything that you see or whatever. This at some point probably had been a sailing ship, like a seabound ship. It has been converted into an airship.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Um,
Um, Now, how long it's been since it's been functional, you're not 100% sure. And as the hole opens above it, um, the hole that's above it seems to be smaller than the ship itself.
Hmm.
Um, so it's almost as if this ship, perhaps this ship itself, had not been flown in, or had been reworked to be larger. You're not 100% sure what the situation is there. Roll and make a another perception check for me. Okay, so Atlas, Kidron, and Bologna.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and use that. I guess the D4.
Um,
Mm.
so Atlas, you hear your voice, or the human form of your voice
Oh,
coming
good. Okay.
from, and what you hear is, they must be here. They must be here.
Then I'll just
you
run in
hear-
there.
Okay. So when you run in or whatever, you see Ulfney standing in the room.
In this room?
Yes.
All right.
Let me grab. I used to have a token for him, and I know he doesn't look like this now, but this is what he looked like before. Da, 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 da. It's a pretty old token. Let me see. Yeah, there it is.
Ulfney.
Or it could just not appear on the map.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, do y'all see it? I don't see it.
I see it.
It's next
I
to
don't
the
know.
globe.
Mm-hmm.
Can I move it?
It's right there.
Oh, there
Yeah.
it is.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, there it appears. Oh, he walks up and he says, "Oh, thank goodness." He says, "I wasn't expecting anyone to be standing in the room when I attempted the travel. I'm so glad that you guys are okay. Do you have all of your limbs? It seems so." Um, and he says, "And your whole party is here, correct?"
It's just me and Idrin and also Bologna.
And he goes wide-eyed for a moment, and he says, "I don't understand. I don't understand. There must have been some sort of interference." Okay,
What happened?
he says, "Well," he says, I've set up a form of teleportation that functions at least correctly for the most part," he says, um, "but it seems that if anyone is standing within the vicinity of the receiving end, they will be sent to the opposite. It seems that we traded places, but there must be some sort of interference between here and Waterdeep, some sort of grand interference that exists," he says. um, "It shouldn't have. Your whole party should be here."
Interesting. They're just not here. Like right in this, they're in the vicinity
He
of
says,
Baldur's Gate or your place.
he says, "Oh, no, 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 we're in Verdusk right now. This is my shop
Verdusk, I mean. Sorry.
in Verdusk."
Speech
He
speech
says,
mistake.
"Also, I owe you something." And he goes over to, like, he has this set of like bookshelves and everything that are lining the north wall, and he goes over to one of them and he swings out like this, what looks like a set of like 7 or 8 books that are all kind of connected, and he swings this out from the bookshelf, and he picks up the sack or whatever from it, and then swings that back so that it's closed. And he walks over to you and he says, I have to send you back. If we're lucky, you'll end up where the rest of your party is."
Oh, good. Okay. Cool.
And he says,
And where might that be?
"Well, hopefully you can find them, and then get your friend Skadric to send me a message when you get there, so that
Well,
I can know
before you throw us in a teleporter, I do have some questions. So I found your little cylindrical things and they turned into new arms. That was what's supposed to happen, right?
Yes, of course."
Oh, okay. So Because I remember we talked about it a while back to see if I could get some sort of enhancement or something. And so thank you for doing that. I just wanted to make sure they're actually working properly and everything.
Certainly, come lie on the table, and I will inspect you. But I think that we should probably look into your friend's circumstances. Correct? Are you
Okay.
concerned about your friends? He holds out to you in the midst of all of this essentially a bag of gold, and he says, um, "Please take this and give it to your parents for me, and apologize to them." He says, "I believe you now will likely have a large hole in your floor."
Oh. Okay. Yes, I'll give the gold to them.
He says,
I'll
"Thank
just
you."
make sure this sack is untouched.
And
It's
he
just
says,
gold in here, right?
"Yes, of course."
Okay, cool.
And he says, "Come and I'll inspect you quickly, and then we can send you on your way."
Awesome. So is there anything else that these arms do that I need to know about, like as he's taking me to the table or whatever?
He says, "Just don't let anyone speak the command word. If someone
Okay.
speaks the command word, they'll separate again."
Gotcha. I'll just never speak of the command word ever again, and then hopefully nobody will remember it or say it. Yeah. Cool.
Okay,
And I
so
noticed there's little
What was that
slots in the
word?
knuckles.
he says, "Oh, yes, yes. Those
Sorry, I have
are,
many questions.
of course." And he begins to detail out uh, what functions your arms have. Um, okay, Roland, Ricard, and Skodrick. Um, so you guys are standing there and you're watching all of this occur. So Roland, you've made another perception check. It wasn't great, but you do, as this kind of like landslide begins to fall into place, which Skodrick and Ricard, you guys see a very large amount of dirt begins to pour in on top of the ship. And it's kind of like sliding because the ship is lying on its hull, right? So it's kind of lying at an angle. And so the dirt is pouring in and kind of sliding over to the side. As it hits the side banister or the side wall or whatever, it begins to kind of pour over out on top of the skeletons that are just kind of meandering around the floor in this space. Roland, as you're standing over here where the doorway is, at the south portion of the wall, you're seeing the dirt kind of pour in or whatever, and you see wood. You see some pieces of wood begin to that are kind of like pouring with the dirt, and you start to hear some yelling, some very very muffled yelling. Um, okay, so eventually the floor recedes out completely. Skydrick and Ricard, you guys can see up into the space that the dirt is pouring in through.
You know where
And
we
it
are?
pours. Do I know?
Do we see where we are? Since we can
Make a
see.
perception check. See if you can tell. See if you guys can tell. Um, okay.
13, and my pseudo dragon's an 8. So
Okay. So Ricard, you do see a pretty significant amount of light flickering off of white mason stonework that formulate the walls of a much smaller room that exists above you, where the ceiling has opened out. Skodrick, as you're looking up into that space, you see also the fireplace that exists on the north wall that now seems to be ever so slightly suspended. It's almost as if it's like sticking out just in front of like the opening now. and looking up into the space, you definitely get a sense that maybe you feel like you know where you are. It definitely has some familiarity to it.
Do
Um,
I? Oh,
Go ahead, Roland.
I was gonna say I see the dirt and stuff falling, but am I aware of where Skadrick and Ricard are in the midst of all this, or
Yes, you would know that they don't have any kind of flying or anything.
but
Um,
do I have visibility kind of to see them, or is it just so much dirt coming in that I can't gauge where they are?
so it's a pretty good amount, but it's beginning to taper off a little bit.
Okay.
Um, so um, as you're looking down into the space, you kind of look in the direction that they had been standing, and so you kind of fly out from over the edge, being sure to stay clear of any falling dirt or debris. Um, and you look down into the hole beneath, and you do still see them kind of standing over
I
on
was just gonna
the balcony.
I was just gonna ask, is you guys are right down there?
Are we where I
Or what?
think we are?
Uh, I think we're in Dragon Spear, and I'm pretty sure we're back in Dragon Spear. Apparently, we rented. I mean, this is out of character, but in character, we're in the Bat Cave. We're of our
Yeah.
facility, which I thought was already a Bat Cave. So I'm not entirely sure what's happening. Do I see the ship where I'm at?
Yes, it now has a large portion of it covered in dirt, but you do see. So when the floor begins to recede out, or when it completes its recession into the walls, um, a a large we'll say light begins to gather on one of the walls. Uh, the wall that is northmost. Now, this is the wall that's inside the vast space where the ship lies.
Is that
Um,
the side that has an intact crystal on the ship? Like, is the
it
crystal
is.
lighting up?
The crystal itself is not. The wall that is north of it is.
How
Um,
high is the pile of dirt on the ship at this point?
so the pile of dirt on the ship is probably like 20 feet.
Okay.
Hmm.
It's a pretty good portion of dirt. Um, so you see light begin to gather on the wall. As the light gathers on the wall, it builds in illumination. The room begins to grow bright. Uh, Suddenly, a beam shoots from the wall into the northmost crystal on the ship.
Okay.
When the beam shoots into that crystal, it that crystal fills. Now you can see that crystal clearly, and it has no cracks. The light then begins to work its way around the iron bands, and you see now that the iron bands have this sort of pearlescent infill that is decoratively traced along the iron band that wraps around the entirety of the ship. And the light makes its way, shooting from that crystal, kind of around this iron band to the other two corners. Um, you Now, the next crystal that it gets to is the one that is westmost of what you guys are looking at, and it is the one that has a few cracks in it. It doesn't have a lot. The one closest to you guys has a lot of cracks in it. So the one that is westmost, the light begins to fill into it. As the light fills into it, you see those cracks begin to spread a little, and you hear some loud cracking as if rock is splitting. Uh, and um, the cracks grow on that one, but then the crystal seems to maintain its state after that. The light then begins to weave into the crystal closest to you guys. That crystal has a lot of cracks in it. Um, so, Ricard and Skodrick, you guys make intelligence checks for me, real quick.
4.
Man, I got some high rolls tonight.
Would it be an Arcana check for me though?
You could
Is
do an
that
Arcana.
possible?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can do an Arcana check.
I mean,
Scott,
I rolled a 12. It's 3 points higher than intelligence. I don't want to. I mean, I don't have to re-roll. I could just add the +3 to what I rolled because
okay,
it should
fine.
be a +6 instead of a +3. So it'd
Sure.
be a 15.
Okay. So given what you just saw in the previous crystal, you get the feeling that when that light completely fills the very cracked crystal, it is likely not to uphold and may have a bad reaction.
Is it? Do I think it'll be a chain reaction, or just maybe that crystal might explode?
Right. You think that it is possible that crystal might explode.
All right. If that crystal explodes, will it negate the effect of the entire the entire mechanism, the entire system of the airship? I ask these questions with the thought in mind that my family literally owns our own airship.
Right.
It doesn't work necessarily under the well. I don't know how it would work now, but it might not work under the same mechanism. But
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about it. We can talk about it for sure, and just kind of hash that out.
yeah. But it's yeah. Could I make a roll? Another
So
roll to see what I might know, or just going off of the
So
15?
what you think is that if the crystals essentially are being energized sequentially, and this crystal were to shatter completely, that it would stop the energy from traveling on to the next crystal.
Uh,
Go ahead, roll it.
I'm seeing all this too, or am I
Yes,
seeing?
you
Okay,
also see all of this. Or
so
whatever.
I saw where it hit the wall. Do I need to roll intelligence to see if I understand what's going on first?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
make an intelligence check.
A 4.
Can
I
I
don't know
look at
that.
Skodrick and tell him to cast mending on that crystal
Yeah,
closest to us
go for it.
continuously?
And I will immediately do that.
Is he within? Are you within range to use mending?
Touch.
Oh, you
Okay.
have to touch it?
You're not in. Yeah, he's not in range.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell him to. How close is it to us? It should be within
It's about,
range.
it's about 25 feet.
I sprint. I'm like,
Is it suspended in the air, or is it just on the ground? Like, how is this even?
So the ship is on the ground. So
Okay.
he's about to jump 25 feet out and probably like 20 or 30 feet down.
Okay.
I'm
If I
gonna
see him doing
follow
this,
him.
I'm going to try to stop him from doing this,
Okay.
or catch
hey,
him, or something.
if it
Like,
goes
why
off, we're
would you
gonna
do
die
this?
anyway.
I'm gonna follow him
Holy
and and cast Featherfall
Thank
on
you.
Skodrick
Look, what the
and
fuck was
myself.
that?
So that would be
Now the
up to 5
casting time.
creatures.
So
Is one reaction, so it's not even an action.
right, I'm talking about for mending.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I see them doing this. Do I hear them say something about mending, or do I just see Scottick jump off this thing?
You just see Skodrick begin to sprint, and he jumps up on the railing there, which is made of stone, fortunately.
I'm gonna try to catch him if I don't know what's happening.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Me and Skodrick both are running to jump off the.
Yeah.
I'm
railing.
gonna try to catch Skodrick
Okay.
because this seems unusual for Skodrick to do.
It's about to blow.
Do I see Roland flying towards us?
Make a perception check.
Okay.
But I.
Nat 20. That's a
Okay.
23.
Going as fast as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. You do.
I just want to yell at him. We have Featherfall. We're trying to keep. Do I have how much? What can I say?
It's not very. It's not very long.
Is it that serious? I'll just get to
gonna
him.
say,
Like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, we have Featherfall.
We have Featherfall.
Okay, what the
You
fuck
should
are we
know
doing?
what that is. You should know what that is. I saved your life with
you
it.
used it on me once.
Yeah.
But I guess
you're
in the heat of the moment, I just see you guys running to jump, and I'm like, what the fuck? And so I'm going down to try to figure out what the hell is happening, and I'm like, what the fuck?
So let's do a thing real quick. Let's roll initiative.
Oh God.
Okay.
Let's roll an initiative real quick. So where we're
Okay.
going to start from, is
11.
Ricard, you've cast Featherfall.
Yep.
And you guys have started to sprint to the edge of this banister, and Roland has seen you guys, and you've called out to him, we have Featherfall. So that's where we're starting from.
All right.
Okay. Atlas and Kidron. You guys. Okay, so Ulfni talks to you about your, talking in talking about you, about your arms to you. Sorry, got a little tongue tied there. He mentions to you the slots on your knuckles, and he mentions that if you are able to fill a slot on your knuckles, that you're able to utilize, depending on what those crystals are imbued with elementally, you're able to add 1d4 of elemental damage as a bonus action to your attacks.
Like, is that a bonus action every round, or is that just to like activate them for a certain period of time?
So that's something that I'm working out right now. That's the only piece left that I haven't decided on. Originally, I was thinking about every round, and that's what I was going to give you. But I've been doing a little more reading, and I've been reading through, Tasha's Cauldron, and had gotten a couple of other ideas, and so I think I'm going to change how that works a little bit.
What? These crystals, they're just like something I can buy, or?
So what we're going to start with is it's an additional 1d4 damage for 1d4 rounds. So that's what we'll start with. And then we'll see how that works out, and then make adjustments accordingly. So he mentions to you that he can imbue a crystal with a particular element, but it's going to take him a while. It'll take him a while to enchant. So he says that it is possible that you could find a crystal imbued with elemental magic in it somewhere to purchase. And then all you would have to do is have it altered a bit so that it would fit into your.
How expensive are we talking?
He says he's not sure.
Interesting. Like, do you have maybe like a minimum floor amount that you would think that they would be?
He says he has no idea.
I am not a merchant. I'm a tinkerer.
It just sounds really expensive. And if it's that expensive, I'll say, like, why wouldn't I just use a lance? Because I mean, if we're talking in like D4s and stuff like that, I'll just tell him like, these arms are really cool and everything, but if I have to spend like hundreds of gold on elemental gems to get these things to work, I think I'm just gonna stick with my lance.
He says, whatever floats your boat.
I appreciate your time and effort, Ulfni. You've done so much for me.
He just says.
Which, speaking of, did you happen to find that armor?
He says he hasn't had time to look yet.
Okay.
Oh
God.
He does say though that he's working out. He does say though that he's been working out a system so that you don't have to have your chest removed every time you want to take out your essentially your what is it called? Your
Steel
pet.
Defender.
Steel Defender.
Yeah. So he's been working on that. He wants to make your chest a fixed situation. So, and he says that because one of the things he mentions is that when the Steel Defender comes out of your chest, so does the crystal that is essentially your heart. And he says to you that he had not considered it before, but was looking through his notes, and should the Steel Defender had died, it could have adversely impacted your life as well.
Jesus.
Uh,
I just want to retire and just like
That would
get
have
an
been
actual
something.
artificer.
He
All right,
says,
all right, all right.
so he's working out a situation where that doesn't have to be the case anymore.
Sweet.
So
Thanks, Olfney.
Okay, so then
Spanish.
he walks over and begins to readjust and recalibrate these little devices that he has on the floor to try and send you guys back to wherever it is. Okay. So Ricard, Skodrick, and Roland
Yes.
are running to leap. So let's see. Our order here is going to be Skodrick, Ricard, then Roland. All right, so Skodrick, you get to go first.
All right.
So we'll kind of lay out the. Let me kind of lay out the situation here. Let me move you guys over, and we'll try and create a kind of like. This is kind of what it's going to look like here. So Roland, you're out in the. Ricard, I still, for some reason, have not found your. And did you send it to me again? Or can you send it to me again?
I can. So
Yeah, if you don't mind. Did you have the token, or did he make a token for you?
I don't remember.
I could let you use this token.
Oh
I'll
God!
just use that token.
Why? Wow!
I just
How
scrolled
dare you.
over it. What I was saying.
How dare you?
Go ahead, Skodrick. What were you saying?
There's a website that makes tokens called
Gotcha.
Tokenmaker.com.
yeah.
Right. Ricard, I don't know why I don't have. You're okay using this token though?
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Okay. I'm going to. Okay, so we'll say, Roland, that you're out here, but you're
Okay.
like 30 feet up above them. Okay. So we'll say that the railing. Let me just put rail. Let's see. It is pulling up train tracks. I put in rail and it pulls up train tracks.
This didn't pull anything else up.
Handrail. Oh no. Okay, we're just gonna use this. It's weird. It's weird, but this is what we're using.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. It's weird.
It's a very big rail.
It is.
It's as big as Skodrick.
Okay, so now I don't have a picture of this. I don't think. We're gonna try and just pull something and see how it goes. Is that gonna look like that when I drop it in?
Never know until you
Sorry,
try.
guys. I guess I was not entirely prepared for this circumstance, which I should have been. DM problems. We'll just use this one.
Ah. Ooh. Oh, even bigger. It just keeps on changing. Just be over here in the corner so you can see myself. Holy shit. Why?
Let's cover that up.
There you go.
Do you need to be to scale? Like, what's happening? Okay.
Yeah, at least for the most part, right?
Sure. I thought it was below us, so I figured it would be smaller to look at. I guess that is smaller. All right. So
And then I've got to add one more thing. Welcome to Battlecry or Die. Okay, so we're gonna call it that. That's not exactly what it looks like, but it's close enough. Okay. Okay, cool. So Skodrick, you're going first. So this is like 25 foot out roughly to the crystal, and then it's going to be like a 30-foot drop. So for those of you on Twitch, when you guys hear me say this or whatever, our fall damage is calculated differently. And he has feather fall, so it's not going to affect him or whatever. But we'll throw that up. We can throw that up so you guys can see that, because it's something that I think we like a lot better. It adds exponential fall damage for stuff. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so Skodrick, you're going first, and then essentially, so you can run and jump and make a acrobatics check. Now, jump distance is also something I need to look up real quick.
Okay.
When you make a high jump, you leap in the air a number of feet equal to 3 plus your strength modifier. If you move at least 10 feet on foot immediately before the jump, which we're going to say you did. When you make a standing, okay, you don't have to do a standing high jump or whatever. So what is your strength modifier?
2.
So 6 feet. Um,
I ran and jump with the momentum. I don't know how featherfall works, but would the momentum carry me a little bit of a way? 30-foot drop as well.
Yeah, it would carry you out a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a couple rolls
Sure.
to see how that goes.
The rule of cool.
Yeah, man, because I dig it. So go for it.
Alright, so acrobatics.
Make me a acrobatics check. Acrobatics. Did I say athletics before?
11.
Acrobatics. Okay. So for an 11, we'll say that it'll catch you. It'll carry you an extra 5 feet.
Okay. So I just dropped 5 feet? Or...
So you jump a total of 11 feet out.
So a total plus 5?
It would be your 6 feet, which is the distance that your jump distance, which is 3 times your strength modifier.
Yeah.
Plus the 5. So 11 feet total. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring that closer.
we're going after that one, right?
Yeah, that's the one he's going after. So that's got a bunch of cracks in it.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
I just hope the rest of the momentum is taken by Featherfall.
How high off the ground are the crystals?
So they're 30 feet down from this one. This one is 30 foot down from Skodrick.
But
So
it's not like
when
resting on the ground. It's like in the air, suspended, or
Right.
no? Okay.
Yeah, the crystal's still in the air.
Okay.
I want to move this back. Okay, so that's like 5. So 5, 10. So we'll put you right there. We'll say that you've gone 11 feet. I don't know why I didn't have.
Okay. I dropped 2 tokens in Discord.
Cool, thank you. Yeah,
Just
I
for the
just grabbed the one. Okay. So, Ricard, you're actually next.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't want to interrupt Skodrick's turn, but I had a question about my pseudo dragon.
Okay.
If I want her to act, does it need to be? Can it be on my initiative, or does it need to be rolled a separate initiative?
That's a good question. So the way that Atlas's Steel Defender works, it's basically at the end of his turn. I'll probably just do that, just
Okay.
for the ease of keeping up with things. So we'll just say that at the end of your turn, your pseudo dragon can act.
Okie dokie. So what I'm going to isn't that cute? It's a little boat and it's got magical shards that are gonna explode in our face. Okay. What I'm going to do is because I was right beside Skodrick, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I would have run and jumped with him.
Okay. And what's your strength
Trying
modifier?
-1.
So
Oh no. So what's -1 times 3? An unreal number, right?
Yeah. Well, yes.
Crap.
Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Ah,
They mean I would go
3
negative
times
feet.
you jump off of the banister.
That doesn't
You're
make
going
sense.
forward, and you
Like,
fall back onto the ground behind you.
am I completely like wonky there? That makes no sense.
I guess negatives won't probably make an effect. It's probably base 0. That makes sense to me.
yeah.
Yeah, but still. So we'll say to a minimum of 1, because base 0 would still be 0.
Yeah.
Like 3 times 0 is still 0.
Yeah.
Was it the one guy says to the other guy, "Bro, slept with twice as many people as you have," and the other guy's like, 2 times 0 is still 0, bud.
Yeah. That's a good question, Ricard. I don't know. That doesn't, yeah, because it doesn't make any sense.
Well, how are we
really
doing with
doesn't.
Scotch? What was the +5 coming from? What was? I didn't hear all of that. I was trying to make sense of it because you said he initially had the 6 from the
Oh
strength.
no! So I had him make an acrobatics check, and then I rolled a D100 to see how far forward the momentum would carry him because he's falling 30 feet on top of it.
Gotcha.
So that was the additional movement. So Ricard, what move are you? So we'll say 5 feet, that you can jump forward 5 feet.
Okay. Oh, it's your strength score, not the modifier.
Oh, is it your?
It's the
Oh,
actual score.
that is
And
so much
I don't mean to rule check you. Like, please, if you want to go with your ruling, that's fine.
Well, so it says when you make a high jump, you leap into the air number of feet equal to 3 plus your strength modifier. If you not times, plus your strength modifier. So I got that wrong. If you move at least 10 feet on foot immediately.
Well, that's a high jump. We were going for a long jump.
Oh, yeah.
High jump is trying to jump
Okay.
up in the air.
Right.
I mean, I
I
know we're
missed
not
the
that
high
athletic.
I missed the high part.
And like I said, I don't mean to. I apologize from rule checking.
Oh.
I just sounded so wrong. I had to look
Yeah.
and see, because there's a difference between high jump and long jump.
Sure.
I'm trying not
What
to.
page did you
die.
find that on?
I actually just pulled it up on roll20.net.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Long jump, not a high jump. I just saw jump and
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, because I was skimming.
I can link that
let me-
to you if that would help at all. I know it's not in.
I'm gonna try and find it in the book.
Okay.
So, Skodrick, hang on a second. You may have gone much further.
That if it helps at all.
I would like that.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get better at using my books. Partly because I bought them. 182 and 190. Yeah, I just Googled it real quick. Long jump, you cover a number of feet equal feet up to your strength score. A number of feet, so it's just your strength score. It's not plus or minus or times or anything. It's just your strength score. So what's your strength score?
14.
Okay, so you move 14 feet, which will put you
Do I still get the 5?
Yes, I'll still give you the 5. So it's going to be one more back because it was 25 feet out.
You got happy.
How dare you?
So 14 feet would put you there. And then plus the 5. So you'd be within melee range of it.
Can I grasp? Can I try to grasp onto anything?
Sure. Let's see. Okay.
Oh God, this is gonna end so bad if that thing explodes.
Oh, it's going. That's why I jumped. That's why we jumped.
Okay. So
Even-
Ricard, what is
yes.
your strength score?
9.
A 9. Okay. So you can go two spaces away from the banister, essentially.
Okay.
Were you going to jump also still, given that information?
Am I?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're jumping
yes.
with him. Okay.
Yes. So from the banister and
Right.
then out 2 spaces.
Yes. So
So
10 feet out, essentially, from the banister.
right
We'll
here. Is that right? Yes.
No, it'd be one back.
Oh.
But make an acrobatics check, and we'll
Okay.
see. And I'm going to roll it depending on your
20 acrobatics.
Oh, nice. Okay, so let me roll a D100 real quick.
Nice.
Okay, so we'll say that carries you an extra 10 feet.
Okay, cool. So
You managed to gain the kind of momentum that puts you right next to.
okay. All right. Can I grab a hold of the banister, or am I still? We should still be way above it if we're feather falling, right?
Yes.
Because feather fall.
So in the midst of feather falling, like you're closing the distance and dropping.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because we fall at a rate that slows to 60 feet per round till the spell ends. Is that right? Okay. All right. So. All right. Cool.
Yeah, I need to look that up in this.
Should I roll a dexterity save to grab the banister?
Both of you guys, actually, Skodrick and Ricard.
And I was gonna have my pseudo dragon help, like fly with me and Skodrick and help either of us if we needed to get any closer. Is what I was gonna have her do.
Gotcha.
On her as her action. So she's basically gonna like pull and try and tug that like extra 5 feet or whatever as her action. So if that will help either of us, I think I'm okay.
Dex save is a 9.
All right, And my
Okay.
my dex save is a 15. Does that succeed?
I will let you know in just a second.
Okay.
So Roland,
Mm-hmm.
you have seen them running and essentially leaping off of the little rail there,
Mm-hmm.
the banister rail, whatever you want to call it. So you are here. So you're going to try and make it to them, essentially?
Well, a couple of things. One, do the
Okay.
skeletons notice that all this is happening, and are they looking at us?
They don't seem to have taken note, but roll a perception check.
Okay.
Okay, so while you guys are doing that, Atlas, Kidron, and Bologna, we're going to switch back to you guys for a second. So Ulfney has kind of described this or whatever. Atlas, he's mentioned to you about the Steel Defender situation and says that he has had something in the works, and will be getting it to you shortly, and now feels that he has, for the most part, established a significant form of transportation between Waterdeep and here.
Oh, good. That's a good thing.
Okay, so he wants to send you guys back.
Pretty fine with that.
Oh, I gotta.
So, right before you do, because I feel like I'm not going to see you for a while, and I want to get this out of the way. The little, crystals that you speak of to put in my knuckles. What would I even call those if I were looking for them from like a merchant or something?
He says to you that that he knows of, they currently don't have a specific name. Just an enchanted crystal is what you would be looking for. An elementally
Okay.
enchanted crystal.
All right. Well, I guess so long as it's the right size and it fits and everything, it's good.
He says, don't worry, it won't be as long as you think before you speak to me again. He says, in fact, if I can wrap things up here, I should be following you very shortly. He says,
Oh, sweet. Okay.
he says, though, when you start to see activity from the devices I set up, if you don't mind just leaving the room.
Okay.
He says, okay, if you don't mind, stand in the circle. He says, being in the circle is generally the best place for accurate transportation. Okay, you hanging out in Ulfney's space.
This is gonna be a lot of fun.
Okay, you just stay in there?
Oh no, heck no.
Okay.
Oh, got you. Okay. Okay, cool.
You're
All right.
taking us to Skodrick and all them, right? Not just back.
He says,
Waterdeep?
well, he hopes that the same interference will happen again on this travel. He says, but the travel happened one way, so he's not 100% sure if it'll work out that way or not.
Okay.
He says, the hope is that you'll find your friends. He says he's not 100% sure if sending them where they've gone has expended that interference, then it may not happen, and you might just end up back at your house.
I'd be fine with that too.
He says, if you do end up at your house, mind the hole.
All right, cool. I'll brace
Okay.
myself to fall.
Okay. I think, guys, if y'all are cool with it, we should take a short break, grab some snacks, drinks. Real quick, who has to work tomorrow morning? Anybody, or does anybody have to get up early, I should say? Or is everybody good for
No, man.
hanging out? What time do you guys want to play until?
Midnight's probably fine.
Yeah. Between 12 and
later.
1 is fine with me. I'm good with that.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's take a quick break then, and I'm gonna refill my drink, get a snack, all that stuff.
Cool.
Be right back. Welcome back.
We're back, guys. Sorry. There's somebody, one of the guys started a segue just before we flipped back over, and it cracked me up. Okay, welcome back to the insane, super fun time of potentially exploding crystal, and
It's like, how am
maybe
I-
the loss of our second, third, and fourth characters.
Yep.
But maybe not.
I haven't told anybody
only
yet
coulda ran.
that my soul would actually be trapped in the ring. You know, so that's a thing. Out of character, completely out of character.
Completely out of here.
Completely out of character. I have told nobody that, so that would be interesting.
Make sure we sell our car's ring when we get done. Just it's got to be worth something, right? He'd want us to make a little coin off of this, right? No.
Which ring is it? That's the question.
All of them. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like...
How many rings do I have on? That's the real
Oh,
question.
guy's got a cock ring. Anyway, back to the game. I'm not checking down there.
Okay.
Okay. So Atlas, Kidron, and Bologna are all standing in this circle with these mechanisms on either side, and Ulfni goes up, does something to them, whatever, and then kind of steps away. When he steps away, they then begin to crackle with this green electrical charge that begins to build. And Kidron, you feel the hair on your arms and the back of your neck and everything stand up again. Atlas, Bologna kind of begins to cling on to you tightly again. And suddenly there is a flash. And the ground beneath you seems to disappear for a moment. And now we're going to flip a coin.
Oh, God. What was it? No, God, was it heads or tails?
It was above 50.
Mm.
Okay. So the flash begins to dissipate, and when it dissipates, you are standing in your bedroom.
Okay. Everybody mind the hole.
Bologna's like, what hole? And almost steps off into this hole that is like right against the circle. So she grabs onto you and manages to balance herself. As you're looking at your bedroom or whatever, you look down in the hole and you see your parents standing on the floor below, among the rubble of what was the floor where they're standing, even,
Sweet.
and looking up through the hole at you. And they're looking up in confusion. And when you pop in, they're like, you hear your dad say, well, that just made him disappear, didn't it? And your mom is like,
Then I'll just drop the sack of
oh,
gold.
there's I said, oh, look, there's Atlas. And you drop the sack of gold or whatever, and your parents hold out their arms or whatever and catch it.
Yeah. Yeah, Ulfni told me to give this to you guys because he anticipated this to happen. Sorry about the ceiling.
He says, your dad looks and says, oh yeah, there was this big, strange looking, like moving statue type thing that came crashing through your floor.
Statue. Okay.
He says,
oh God,
I've not seen anything like that, but
So what happened to the statue? Where's the statue at?
well, it seems the flash that brought you in took him out.
Okay, so it just switched me. Okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I suppose. But I guess now you have the money to get this fixed. So I don't know if Ulfni's gonna be still using the room or not. But apparently he's got some sort of way to get back and forth from water deep, so we should be good. Can we talk?
So yeah. Come on down.
I'll just come downstairs. I don't know whether to use the new hole or the stairs.
Okay, and Bologna's following you down. Kidron, I imagine you're following them down as well.
Yes.
Um, okay. All right, rolling. So you're gonna try and make it to them in the midst of their jump.
Just so I know how things were going in terms of like chronologically. Okay. Ricard cast Featherfall. They jump off the thing.
Mhm.
Did they actually say we're casting Featherfall?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
said that's
Ricard
the
yelled.
last.
Okay.
Ricard yelled up to you that he's casting Featherfall.
Gotcha. So I see them jump across, trying to get over in that vicinity of where the crystal is, and they're like trying to grasp onto it, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
So so Skadrick, you managed to touch onto the side of the crystal.
Ah.
It begins to slide beneath your hands. You're grasping for anything that there is to hold on to, and your hands hit the iron band that holds the crystal to the side of the ship, and you try to grasp hold of. Mind you, you're not falling very fast. But it seems just to slip past your fingers. And you begin to slide down past the iron band and the crystal tapering underneath. Ricard, you managed to catch the side of the ship, no problems. But you see Skadrick next to you sliding down the crystal past the iron band that's wrapped around it.
Can I try and catch him?
Sure. Yeah, make another dex save.
Okay.
Do a dex save. We'll do a dex save.
Oh shoot! Sorry. Give me one moment.
No worries.
20.
Oh no! Oh no! I know that goes.
Once again. Okay. So. Give me one moment. Why isn't it going? Okay, there we go.
Hey, Ricard's back.
David, can you
I'm
switch
back.
the scenes?
Yeah, I was gonna
To
ask.
the ship one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I moved me and not you guys.
Okay. So dex saving throw. Bloop. That is a
20.
really good one. What is that? 20? Yeah,
So
20. Dex save.
you see Skadrick just as his fingers are slipping past the iron band, and you catch the side of the ship. You manage to reach out and grab like essentially a fistful of his robes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you can essentially hold him and swing him over up against the side of the ship also.
Okay. Do I need to make a roll with that to get him up there?
Yeah, make a strength check or save. I'll let you do a save or a check. Either
Can
or.
I kind of help with my offhand?
You can grasp.
Yeah, I was gonna try and have, if it was possible, have my pseudo dragon try and assist. Maybe give some sort of bonus to grab the back of his cloaks and help kind of pull him.
What's your pseudo dragon's strength modifier? I'll let you add the modifier.
Oh, that's probably not going to help. Let's
Um,
see. 1 second. Let me pull up my pseudo dragon.
-2.
It's probably something like that. Yeah.
So subtract 2 from whatever you're gonna roll.
So I'm like, I don't know that that's gonna help a whole lot.
I'll do it to a minimum of 1. I would do it to a minimum of 1.
I mean, I'll take a bonus of 1 because I'm pretty sure it's below 10. All right. So strength save. I'm going to use a point of luck on that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I gotcha. Oh no.
And that is a 15.
Okay, yeah, that'll do.
All right.
That'll do
Well,
it.
it would have been a 16 with the pseudo dragon's help. So
Yeah, there you go. The pseudo dragon's like grabbing like the shoulder of your robe.
it's like,
and it's,
flap,
like,
flap, flap, flap.
flapping as hard as possible. Okay, so you managed to make it over to the side of the ship.
I'm on my feet.
I'm just gonna tell you to mend that
Yeah,
crystal
as soon as I get
if your
up.
life depends on it. And
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
the end of my turn, basically, I think.
And I'm like,
Okay.
Muhammad, give me strength.
So Roland, it is your turn.
Oh, okay.
So this is what you've seen. Yes.
I just witnessed them do all that, and I'm just wondering the entire time, why did you guys make this? So you know what? Never mind. Why? Anyway, so the skeletons haven't noticed us from what I'm seeing,
Right.
or did that change anything? Them getting up there, because it would have been after they did all that, I assume.
They don't seem to take note of. They seem to still be wandering aimlessly around.
Okie dokie. Well, I'm just gonna fly over to them, I guess. Or actually, okay. So I didn't, with that intelligence roll I rolled earlier, I don't understand what the hell is happening. But I did see.
So you're not 100% sure of the process that's undergone or whatever that's being undergone, but you have taken note that the beam came from the wall, hit one of the crystals, and then you saw the light travel around to the second crystal, illuminate it, and has now traveled around to the third crystal. So you did see all of that take place.
Okay.
You witnessed that, though you're not 100% sure, like why or what it's supposed to be doing.
Okay. Now I see Skodrick casting mending, or because he's done it on me before. Do I know that he's doing that to this crystal?
Why don't you make another? I'm gonna make a perception check to see if you see the things that Skodrick is doing there are indicative of that.
15.
Okay, so you definitely see Skodrick begin to reach out and put his hand on the side of the crystal.
Okay. Any kind of like magic indications or anything? I'm saying.
Godric's full attention is on the crystal.
Right.
Gotcha.
So it definitely seems to be indicative of him casting some sort of spell.
Okay. All right. And I can tell the crystal's cracked. It's like obvious, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, where's the wall at? Where the light initially came in and hit? Is it behind us?
So yeah, it would be over on this side here.
Okay.
So it's like it shot from like this corner into this crystal.
Is it still emitting a beam of light into that crystal?
Yes.
If I just fly over here and block it with my body or my cloak, does it do
Can you
anything?
fly down in front of it?
Yeah, like where the light is. Like, is it just a beam of light that's coming through, or is it like
Make an Arcana check.
an Arcana check? Okay, sure. I'm like, what the hell? Like, obviously, I don't want this happening.
I thought it was a Zelda thing too.
Like, fuck, at 3.
So you're not 100% sure.
I'm not sure if it will work, or if I'm just not sure.
If
Like,
it's just a regular beam of light.
Yeah,
Right.
that's why I don't know. Okay, I mean, I'm just gonna hold my cloak up in front of it just to see what happens.
Okay.
My cloak gonna get lit on fire? Or...
I am the knight.
like waving, like when waving my
So
hand in front of it.
we'll say
doing
that the beam. I'm gonna draw a thing.
Just draw fire around Roland's token.
That's
Ah!
where the beam of light is.
I was over there.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
So that's where you would have gone to, obviously.
Okay. So from over here, it's like waving my hand and cloak and everything in front of it to see if it's doing anything, or
Which is your dominant hand?
my right hand.
Is that the hand you're using?
Yeah. Well, I'm like holding the cloak up, but I'm like kind of like waving it in front of it to see if it, like, what's going on with it. Like,
Okay.
hell, why would that light just?
This
blast
is
through
not
there?
something I anticipated.
As far as I know, it's just sunlight, right? I don't know what the hell that is.
So you oh god. So you hold your cloak in front of the light, the beam of light, essentially. And when you do that, the first thing that you'll note, Skadric and Ricard, is that the light that is growing in the crystal next to you reduces, or begins to reduce almost immediately and dissipate, and the illumination in the room drops significantly. But that only lasts for like a split second. So, Roland, when you hold your cloak out in front of it, you block the light for a moment, but then that part of your cloak just disintegrates.
Phew. Sound like Vincent now from Final Fantasy VII. Like
Yep.
afraid cloak. Okay. Just a look. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So
What else are you gonna
not-
wave in front of it? Let me make some more
just pull
rolls.
unzip my pants and no, okay. Well, obviously it's magic. It's not just sunlight. I know that now.
Right.
Okay. So are we saying that I moved from that original spot there, or did I come forward, see them, and then go back? Because I'm fine with either one. I just need to make sure for the movie.
I'll say that I'll allow that you would have noticed them jumping over and then heard Ricard's shout, and then just made your way over to where the crystal
I think
is.
I was like right over there or something.
Right.
20. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'll just fly my way back over with my dash action, I guess. It's a bonus action.
Okay.
To get over here.
Yeah, that's fine.
30 feet, yeah. All right. I'm like, yeah, so got some magical sunlight stuff coming through that crystal there.
As soon as he moves again, the illumination begins to regain and reform. So at the end of the round,
okay.
need you guys to make some dexterity saving throws.
Of course.
Shit.
Even as I'm flying.
Oh.
Here we go. Well, that was a con you rolled there. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
I'm sorry.
insane.
Dang, my hand slipped. Sorry.
Oh.
Did it go wrong?
Not
Okay.
terrible, not terrible.
Damn it.
Does an 8 fail, DM?
Just go ahead and roll it for good measure.
It's okay if you say it fails.
It fails.
It's going to succeed regardless.
Oh,
You're
okay.
going to activate the ring of evasion.
Ah,
Expend 1 charge to succeed the dex saving throw.
Just tells
All
the
right.
DM.
I need that.
DM, whatever you say, fuck you. I pass.
No, it's not a FU. It's
I
a
know. I'm
magic
just
item.
saying.
It's the first time I've used it and how long since I've had it. So
Okay,
I'm just
so
fucking around, dude.
the ring explodes. Fuck!
Oh god.
20 wizards pop up around me and the ring just explodes. Son of a bitch.
so the first, so there's a little pulse. The cracks begin to grow or whatever. There is a small pulse of energy shooting off a small portion of shards from the outside of this crystal. You guys take 7 damage.
What type of
Really?
damage?
Piercing.
Piercing?
Oh,
7
shit.
piercing damage. That's funny. Okay, Skodrick, it is your turn again, and you're gonna just hold mending.
I'm just gonna hold mending. Be like, guys, if you have any plans, I'm all ears. But I'm gonna keep trying to fix it.
I have an idea.
Okay, so you see one of the cracks begin to seal.
How many cracks total?
There's a lot.
Damn it. So one of 65.
Well, the other one was cracked pretty bad, but not as bad as this one. So if we can get it somewhere to around the last one.
How many cracks are the other one? Not as many.
Just as simple as that.
Yeah.
Not as many.
So, so he's going to continue to hold that in his turn. Was there anything else you wanted to do in your turn, Skondrick? You just focusing on mending?
Yeah, I can't think of
Okay.
really.
So make a D100 roll real quick.
Please be good. Whichever side it's gonna be on.
A beam of light shoots down from the outside, illuminating Skodrick.
Do I experienced pain?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Oh, no.
You feel essentially almost like a blessing from Bahamut.
Yes.
Because you had asked Bahamut for help just before the. Okay.
Roland looks at this in disbelief.
Ricard.
Yes.
What would you like to do on your
Nope, not happening.
Did I noticed? Okay, so I noticed the dimming of the light.
Yes.
Did I notice Roland blocking the light?
Make a perception
His
check.
cloak or okay.
Yeah, I'll give you a perception check just to kind of.
Can I add
For
my
the
pseudo
general
dragon on there as well, or
Sure.
does a
that's
16
fine.
get it?
That'll be fine. 16
Okay.
will be good.
So I put the smelling of burnt cloak in the hole in Roland's cloak, and maybe seeing him come from over there. Maybe that's what he did.
Yep. Sure.
And I'm going to pull out my old breastplate from my bag of holding, toss it to Roland, and tell him to block that light again with whatever he has for as long as he can to
Do I
keep
hear him say that?
this crystal from exploding.
Your turn's over, Skadrick.
I mean,
Skodrick, you do hear him say that,
Okay,
but it's not.
cool. Yeah. No, yeah, I had enough. I'm happy.
Uh,
I have a blessing.
And let me see if I have anything else I can pull out with that mithril breastplate. Is that okay, DM? Because I should be able to grab several things, or at least, hopefully, maybe several things.
Yeah,
Or is that?
I'll give you 2. We'll say 2. So you pull out the mithril breastplate.
Well, I have a regular one and I have a mithril one.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um,
Which one did you want to pull out?
Can I pull out both?
Why don't you pull out both?
Okay, and I'm gonna hand them both. I'm gonna tell them to use
How many dicks do you have?
the non-mithril one first.
Okay.
Ugh.
Are you handing me that one first, or you gonna hand me the second one?
I'm gonna
just
hand
yet?
you both of them. I'm gonna tell you to use the one not made of mithril first.
Okay. I mean, oh, it's still your turn, so I can't say anything. But okay.
And then I'm going to take a defensive posture and look out for any skeletons coming to attack Skodrick. And I'm gonna tell you, I'll protect Skodrick.
Okay. I'm just gonna grab the one that's not mithril because I can understand that you don't want that one to get damaged.
Yeah, but I want you to take both.
I know.
Going to shove it at you.
I was gonna either politely take Skodrick's sentinel shield.
No.
Whoa. Hey, bro, you're fine, right? You're good. You don't want to move.
All the windshield. All the windshield.
I mean, but I'm assuming. I mean, you know, that one's probably better, right?
Oh,
it's a shield.
So,
I have a shield too, DM. Could I? Could I have given him the? Could I have given him the shield instead of the mithril breastplate? Is that?
Oh God.
Or is it done? No, it's done. Okay.
Yeah,
I kind of figured that.
Okay.
So if you're gonna go,
do you let me take your shield?
I would say take my weighted leaded.
Do you have
cape.
that on you? You
My
want me to
cape.
take the one you just bought?
Yeah.
the one that you're wearing right now?
Yeah.
Well, I need the shield.
I mean,
the shield has come in more handy than the cape right now.
You know, I don't know. DM, do I know if shields just disintegrate from magic stuff, or I don't know. I assume his shield is made of magic.
So you would know that generally, if an item is magic, if it's a magic item. Sometimes magic items require more than normal items to destroy. Like that there are certain cases in which destroying a magic item is not just a matter of breaking it in half.
Yeah, so Skodrick, which one do you want to give me? I'm gonna let him just hold out either his arm or like point at his cape. Which one? Okay.
So you gotta wait for him to take it off.
No, I'll let him take it off me. I'm focusing on the.
No, that's a cloak.
Oh, but it wraps around the neck, right?
Does it have a clip or anything?
Yeah, I guess you could wrap it around the neck. Yeah.
I'm just gonna like unclip it or whatever it is, and just take it, and then I'm gonna take the shield.
Look up the rules for doffing
or the breastplate, and I'm gonna.
There's 2 breastplates. Take the 2 breastplates.
I can't. I only have 2 hands. Okay, so I didn't take your precious mithril one because that just seems a bit.
Sets it on
the precious one is the one that I'm wearing. So.
Oh, okay. So you do have one on right now.
Oh yeah, yes. I didn't take mine off.
Okay.
That would take way too long. These are literally ones I pulled out of the bag of holding and went, here, use this one first.
Okay, I have 2 hands.
Block the light. Yeah, that was it.
Okay. So I'm gonna be like regular breastplate and cloak, or mithril breastplate and cloak. Let's see. I'm gonna drop the regular one and then grab the mithril one and wrap it in the cloak. And then when I go back over,
30 pounds.
Huh?
That's pretty heavy. That cloak is about 30 pounds.
Yeah,
so it's pretty heavy.
Well, I mean, it's no heavier than a person, right?
No.
So I should be able to just throw it over, and then fly over to where the thing is, and like kind of hold it kind of outward into
Like
the
the
light
whole-
slowly.
The whole thing. So like the cloak with both
How much is the
breastplates
breastplate?
inside of it.
How much does the breastplate weigh? Does anyone know? I mean, again, I
Like
don't think
10
it weighs
pounds.
more than a
Yes,
person.
it weighs
Correct.
20 pounds.
So it's 50 pounds. Can I
Yeah.
lift 50 pounds outward into a light? Or is that going to cause problems?
You could also
Um,
float above it and just dangle it down into it.
That too.
If you were fly, because you fly, you're flying.
I would
Right?
just say cover the.
So do you have both breastplates inside the wrapping, or
No,
just
I have
the
just
one?
the mithril one. I dropped
Okay.
the other one, and I grabbed the mithril one, and I fly
Just
over.
the mithril one.
That's
and
what
the,
he
and the
said.
cloak. Yeah,
Okay.
I dropped the regular one because I had that one first, and
Okay.
I just because he was holding both out, so I just grabbed the mithril one, wrap it in the cloak, and then fly
The
over.
hundreds of gold about to evaporate it.
Apparently so. So I'm going to dangle it, I guess,
Okay.
in the cloak, in front of the light.
Okay.
It's mithril. It's
All right.
Is mithril magic? I don't know. I assume it's just strong.
No, it's just
Wait, it's just strong? Okay, we're going to see if this
It's very strong.
goes away in about 2 seconds.
I have to look up something. Give me
Oh,
a second.
Jesus. Is mithril explosive? Is the cloak explosive?
if it was adamantine,
Ah,
that might make a significant difference, but it's not.
oh God. You could just give him the damn shield, Skyder.
No, I'm not
I
giving
wouldn't
you
have
that
given
shield.
no.
Jesus.
I wouldn't have given them a shield.
Just hold it. It's gonna hold it there. It shouldn't blow
She
up.
brings
in
back your
6
shield with a
seconds.
big hole in the middle.
It's gonna be a little. It's gonna be a little
I
toasted.
trusted you.
Just a nice bronzed shield.
It was silver.
So essentially, the mithril is just incredibly light.
Oh, this
Yeah,
is gonna be.
So it's
yeah.
basically like the same AC modifiers and such.
Yeah, I don't know if the hardness is any different.
Yeah, no, it's just it doesn't impose any disadvantage on dexterity checks or stealth.
Would I have known that?
Mithril has 30 hit points per inch of thickness and a hardness of 15.
Oh,
There you go.
well, I guess we're gonna see what happens. Oh God.
Okay, so Roland, I'm
Fast
going to
things
have
go wrong.
you roll a
Okay.
D100.
I'm
Real
holding
quick.
this at a safe distance below me. The D100.
Yeah, as
Okay.
safe a distance as can be gained by holding something.
If this looks like it's gonna blow up, I'm just gonna let it go. I'm not gonna just die via light explosion. You said D100?
Yeah.
89?
Ooh.
Okay,
That's
so
how much damage you take.
the light cuts down. It definitely cuts the light out for the time being.
Okay. Seeing that smell smoke.
So you guys immediately see the illumination of the crystals begin to dissipate.
Does it hold?
I use that timing and just keep mending.
For a moment, for it's
I'm gonna go away for I did Sal. I'm gonna go away
Yeah,
for
well, we have any town.
for the last 2 seconds of the round, at least. Okay, so Kidron, Atlas, and Bologna, you guys are back in your parents' house, back in Atlas's parents' house. Atlas, you mentioned talking to your parents. What were you going to talk to them about?
That I'm thinking about leaving the city with my friends eventually.
Got you. Okay.
Making my own way downtown.
So they mentioned to you, after the discussion that you guys had with Olsney in regards to what the potential plan was, and what his idea is and how to get you back in your original body. Um, they mention to you that they feel like that was uh, uh, at least going to be something that would happen inevitably for at least a short period. Um, but then they talk to you about the fact that they had been considering the idea that maybe after you've left, you might not want to come back again after getting out of Waterdeep and being able to see the outside world and kind of get a feel for things. That perhaps your interest would begin to lie outside of the city.
Probably.
And so they kind of bring this up and mention it to you in and amidst your discussion. And
Why does anybody think that I would want to go back to my old body?
so they when you say
I'm asking them that question. Yeah.
sure. And so they kind of look with shock in their eyes for a moment, and they say, are you okay with being this?
Yeah, I was a cripple before. Like everybody else, it seems like no matter who I talk to, somebody wants me to like thinks that they presume that I want to go back to my old skinny, weak, literally crippled self. And why would I want that?
And they say, well, they understand that life is definitely a difficult one. Um, and they say, you know, they just had not anticipated your desire to not go back to that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only benefit would be eating. But I mean, part of the digestive process is also defecating. And I can't even like properly do that, let alone walk.
They
So why would I ever want to go back?
so they
TMI.
they kind of so your mom begins to get a little teary-eyed, and your dad says, we understand. Um, they say, it, it feels weird to have some strange man be the person behind the eyes of who you were. Um, and then they mention to you that where it where they're happy for like your current state, or happy that you're happy, and they mentioned that that's primarily what's important, is that you be happy. um, they say that they thought that perhaps one day they could find someone who might be able to help your circumstances, and help make you mobile again, um, and heal your ailments. uh, and then your dad kind of looks at you, and he says, he understands that in your current state you don't experience these issues, and you definitely have some superior attributes even to himself. And he says, but don't you think you'll get tired of this? Don't you think you would at some point decide to change? And he says, look, son, he says, I want you to be happy. He says, but don't make a permanent decision off of a temporary mindset. He says, this is something new for all of us, and we we want what's best for you, but is this what's best?
And I cast Alter Self, and I become my old self again. for a brief period of time. And I go ahead.
Okay, so at this, your mom just starts bawling,
Okay.
and
I
she
kind of
just like
expected that.
stands up and like runs up and gives you a hug, and your dad goes wide eyed for a moment and says, um, "I guess you can still have what you had without the negative parts of what you were." And
Yeah.
he
I
kind of
can do
comes
this for
up
an
and
hour at a time, 3 times a day. If I'm not having to save my energy, I can do this a lot. Not permanent.
he says, "Well," he says, if this is what you want, we will support it."
Yeah, I think it is what I want. I mean, unless there's some way that I can get back into my old body and I not be a complete weakling. I don't know if anybody can tell me that, then sure, I'd go back. But as it seems, I would end up just going back into a body that I always hated anyway, so I don't think that there would be any point.
And then
And
when you
honestly, I don't think there would be any point in staying in this town either, because I always get my ass kicked.
and then when you say that, your mom just starts sobbing harder and holds you tighter. um, and then she kind of lets go, whatever, and says, I she's like, I really need to make some tea, and like walks over to the little kitchen area and begins to work on a pot of tea.
Nice.
And your dad
Yeah, maybe
says,
I can taste it now.
and your dad looks and he says, "Son, you're a man now, and you can make your own decisions." He says, "Make sure that power's not the only reason you're deciding this. Make sure that it's really what you want."
Yeah, I mean, I guess, power's not everything, of course, but I don't want to just, go back to a crippled body, is basically what I'm getting at.
He says,
And I
"Yeah."
mean, power is nice. It feels good.
He says, "Yeah, we can definitely understand."
I won't
And
take it too far. Don't worry. I'm not going to start like robbing people or anything like that.
he says, "Well, we appreciate the encouragement." He says, "We know that you wouldn't do that." Your mom kind of pipes up from behind you, and she's like, "Yeah, we raised you better than that." And
Yeah, y'all did a good job. I
and
haven't got myself killed yet.
hey, they kind of your dad kind of chuckles and he says, "Yeah." He says, "For that we're thankful." Uh,
Me too.
and then so Bologna, standing next to you, kind of takes your arm and looks at you, and she says, "Are you sure this is really what you want?"
See, he would be the one thing that would actually keep me here in Waterdew because I feel like if I stayed just one day longer, I'd probably end up staying forever.
And she says, "Atlas, I don't want to be the reason you deny yourself a life that you want." She says, "And somebody needs to take care of your parents while you're gone."
Yeah, that's true. Um, this is depressing. I don't think that I'll be gone that long. I mean, apparently there's something going on which you may or may not have even heard about with this dragon cult that's trying to get power everywhere they go. And it seems almost like it's a dire world ending situation. And I haven't talked much about this, and especially not to you, but somehow I get the feeling in my mind that, it was either Ilmater or Lathander that put me in the situation that I'm in. Now, maybe they used Ulfni as a catalyst for this, but somehow I feel like I have a debt that's to be paid. And you got a cult out there that's trying to summon an evil god. And I feel like maybe the stars are aligning for a reason. The reason I say that is that, I don't have to be gone forever, but just long enough to pay my debt.
And your dad looks at you and says, "Well, whatever you decide to do, we'll be proud of you." And Bologna says, "And I'll be here waiting on you for whenever you come back."
I'm glad to hear it. Well,
Adrian's crying in the corner.
I'm probably literally standing here like that and like this in the corner, like wow. Yeah, this is deep. I debated on whether or not I should leave the room actually, but then I decided to stay.
It's all right, Keejan. We're all family here. Have you had any of my mom's bread yet?
I have, and it was great and
What about the
fantastic.
tea? Did you get the tea? Loaded with caffeine.
I did not get the tea.
Atlas's mom turns and is like, "Would you like some?" and holds up like a little cup. Okay.
That would be great.
So Skadric, Ricard, and Roland, we are at the top of the round, essentially. And so Skadric, it's your go. I imagine you're going to continue to hold mending, like you're continuing to cast mending. I'm going to fix that crack and fix this crack and fix that crack, just as fast as you possibly can.
Yep. With Mama's help.
So the question is, which I don't see. Okay, so it may not be an issue. The 2 lodestones, are they consumed upon casting? But it doesn't say that. Okay. I was just making sure. Okay, so Ricard, you're standing there. And you guys are holding that. There was that one pulse, little shard shot out or whatever.
Yep.
Roland is over there holding this cloak with the mithril armor wrapped in it in front of this beam of pure magical energy. And you are looking down. This pile of dirt has now spilled, it's spilled over under the side. The dirt has stopped falling at this point. So dirt is no longer filling the chamber, but it does slope all the way down to the floor. And as you look, about 3 or 4 of the skeletons that are all down towards the floor have begun to take notice of you guys.
Okay.
Now it's a good, it's a pretty good ways up, and it's a very steep dirt mound that they're having to climb.
Okay.
And it's also loose dirt. So as they're trying to climb it, more loose dirt is kind of sliding down on top of the portions where they're trying to climb, and essentially they're making little to no progress. But they are all sitting at the bottom of this. So let me
Okay.
give you a layout here.
Just for the record, when I took the breastplates out of the bag of holding, I would have had to have dropped the stone from Ish back in there.
Okay.
Okay.
Where is this guy?
So
So they're trying to climb the dirt mound.
how far away from me, if I could measure the distance, are they? Because I see they're only 5 feet, a
Right,
5
but
foot square way, but it's sloped. So how far down are they?
so they're about 30 feet down from where you are.
Okay. And there's 4 of them?
Yeah, for the time being, you note that 4 of them have taken notice of the workings.
I'm going to summon the wand of fireballs to
Oh,
my
here we go.
hand
Here we go.
and fucking explode them. Pardon my Swahili.
There's a gas can right behind them.
If I see any reason I should not, is a next statement that I should not do this. Is there something holding the ship? Is there bracing holding the ship upright? Is what I'm talking about. Is there anything like that that
No, so essentially
this?
the ship is very slanted, so it's almost as if it was set down, as if they had not constructed any kind of landing pad or gear or anything.
So this wasn't their base,
Right,
basically. Which okay.
right, exactly. So whenever this particular ship was brought in, and this ship might not have even been flown in,
Mhm.
it might have been constructed inside.
That's weird, but okay.
But
That's a
it
whole
is
other thought process I can go through later. Okay,
laying kind of like on the hole sideways.
gotcha. So if it's all right, I'm gonna aim fireball so it
Sure,
hits just up to the edge of them.
sure.
Maybe like because I don't want to center it on them. I'll move it down so it maybe hits the blast radius goes 5 or so feet in front of them as it explodes.
Yeah,
And that would be 8
yeah,
dice
that's cool.
6. Oh, how do I do this? Advanced dice roller. All right, here goes. That is 24 damage to them and everything in that vicinity of the fireball of
Oh God.
20 feet.
Those are deck saves.
Oh, okay.
Rather,
I was like, okay, sure.
rather than, rather than clicking D20 6
Well,
times, I
that's
decided
6,
to use advanced dice roller.
not 4. That's 6 of them.
Yes.
That was 2
So when the fireball explodes, you hear the clatter of all of these skeletons and 2 that had not taken notice and were just in the vicinity kind of wandering.
Okay. Cool. Well, now they're all going to take notice, and I'll blow them all up. Do any of them go down?
Um yes, all but one.
I'm going to say DC should be, what was it, 15?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right. It's 15. So all but one go down. The one that does not go down is one that had not up until this point seen you guys.
They damn well should have noticed.
So he is definitely injured. Oh, excuse me. And let's see. I'm going to move this. And he is down. Except that I can't see it because it's all the way over there. Okay. And he would have been there. Okay. Yeah, so that explosion goes off. And now you hear
Oh, nice.
all of them beginning to come around the ship in various areas.
Works. All right. To finish off my turn, while you're positioning those, is it okay if I say something?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna yell out because now they all know we're here. Hey, Skodrick.
Yeah.
You know what a skeleton's favorite snack is?
Oh God.
What?
Spare ribs. And boom! As the explosion goes off.
Okay.
I get it.
Yeah.
I need to find
Eden
something.
smiles.
Ears are ringing.
He's like, for some reason, just feels this chuckle overcome. Like, and that's
Yeah,
appropriate.
that was funny.
I'm going to look for a thing real quick. Okay.
I thought when you rolled all the .20s, I'm like, oh God, what is it? We didn't see all the barrels of gunpowder.
That's what I was thinking.
51 points of damage. I have 1 if I fail.
So Roland, it's your go.
I'm assuming I just saw an explosion go off.
Continue. Yes, you did. You did see an explosion go off.
I'm gonna just. Oh.
Roll another D100.
Oh Jesus.
Well, you can go ahead and do your thing.
I was just gonna ask, like, you're over to Ricard, like, need some help over there?
And then you hear me yell my joke. Did you hear me yell my joke?
Uh-huh. I mean, I saw the skeletons earlier, so I'm assuming that's why you would have just shot that off.
I'm making bone dust.
Okay. Gotcha.
Good
All
for
right.
visibility, but
D100. Here we go. 39. Pretty much. So I'm thinking.
gold.
I was gonna ask if he get advantage because I care about that middle breastplate, but then it's rolling. Probably shouldn't care about it.
Well, you note that the front portion, or the portion of the cloak closest to that is current in the immediate reception of this magical energy has disintegrated, and it is now hitting the breastplate.
Is it reflecting?
It doesn't seem to be reflecting. No.
Well, shit. Okay.
You still have the back of the breastplate and the back of the cloak. See, it's okay.
Sure.
It's gonna be all right. Fuck.
My cloak.
Sorry, Skodrick.
You guys hear
Oh God.
a huge thud inside the ship.
No.
Inside the ship.
Yes.
Oh, the captain woke up. God.
Yeah, I'm just like, you guys got this? Or...
Well, I'm a little preoccupied at the moment, sir.
Oh.
Let's see. I'm doing a thing.
Can I see how much the crystal is looking, how bad it's looking or good it's looking from here.
You can make a perception check if you want.
Okay.
Let's see.
Ooh, buddy. That's an 8. Oof. Good old 8.
It's very hard to tell with the reduction of the illumination in the room. It is definitely difficult to tell.
I'm just gonna yell over, how are we looking over there? And then I guess that's my turn.
Okay. Not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Okay. At the end of the round.
Oh god, these are higher. It's a high roll and a low roll. Actually, they're exact opposites. Or
Yeah.
flipped.
Yeah, they really are. I didn't do that. Okay, so you see a couple of more cracks in the crystal fuse together. And then you hear a crash. Now, so you guys are standing on the deck of the ship, essentially, and Godric, you're kind of like reaching over from the deck of the ship, touching the crystal, right? Pouring this energy into it, right? And you still have this beam of light kind of shining down. Ricard, you're over on the edge of the ship. You know, you've shot your fireball down into the depths, whatever, destroying some of the skeletons that has kind of aroused the rest of the skeletons to kind of come at you, right? Or take notice of you and begin to work their way. Now you hear this large crashing. Now the ship doesn't look like this, right? This is like the internals of a ship, whatever. So there's actually flooring here. There's actually a deck here. And towards the back, you guys are standing towards the front of the ship. Towards the rear of the ship, there is one of the doors or whatever that you know would be on a ship that goes back towards where the cabins are and stuff like that. And you see kind of begin to splinter the wood around one of the doors. And you see it splintering, and then it bursts open. When it bursts open, standing on the deck of the ship is this thing.
Oh, is that the scale?
Oh shit!
Not exactly. It's not exactly the scale. It's
Is it
one size. It's one
Oh.
size larger than you guys.
Okay.
Okay. So
Pretty much.
and what is it? Is it wielding that type of weapon?
It is.
Okay.
Gotcha.
It is holding this massive axe.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. All right.
We need music.
Yeah.
We reiterate this every Friday. I think Atlas has fallen asleep. Sorry, brother.
It would be really great if they'd have been teleported here.
Yeah, it had to roll.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we would have all died together.
Okay, we're back at the top of the round, but it is 12:40.
Ooh, phew. Okay.
And I think that this would not be a bad time to wrap up.
It's a very bad time to wrap
Could,
up. What do you
could we ask one question?
Sure.
One question of do the cracks on this crystal look similar to the ones on the previous crystal that the
Yeah, I
light
think-
passed through yet?
Yeah, I think I'm at the top of the round. Can I make a perception?
Is this real perception roll?
Everybody can make a perception roll.
Oh, thank you.
It tells the same thing. No, this looks much worse.
That's a 22. I rolled a 19.
Okay.
15 for me.
So they're
23.
not
Look
quite
at that.
they're not quite there yet. They're definitely working on it. It's definitely looking like it's in better shape than it was, but it still looks fairly unstable.
Arcana check. Like one less. How many rounds? Guesstimation. Arcana check.
Wow.
Can I do it?
Wow.
No. Okay. I quit. That's okay.
Ask
Okay.
for the moon and the stars while you're at it.
I mean, I didn't ask for
I know, just fucking with it.
+3 armor either, but it fell in my lap. I got open. Okay, never mind. Fuck. Die down here. We're all gonna die. It'll be fun though.
You probably won't. You probably won't die.
Yeah.
You might die.
At this point, my character is trying to decide which fireball to launch.
Right.
Probably send a message.
Launch the one that's gonna go in between the two magically charged. Well, one magically charged crystal, and possibly damage them, or take out the large number, which is probably the bigger threat.
Maybe not the thing on the wooden ship. Probably not that one.
That's a good point.
Probably not that. That would be the best thing possible.
Appreciate that. Plus, I want to keep the ship.
Yeah, it's like, I think Picard would value the ship a little more than his potential death. Again,
Yes, I would.
For all we know, the
haven't you died already?
the
Haven't you already died
teleporter
one
in
time
the-
this week?
No, that was
It's
not
the same week.
Is it the same week? I guess.
It's like 2 days.
Technically,
This is
it was
a lot
near
of shit
death.
happening in 2 days.
It was near death. It was near death. Okay.
Roland has
We'll go
seen
with
so
near
many fireballs go off in like a 24-hour span.
I haven't launched the fireball.
No, it wasn't you. It
today.
was the wizard launched
Oh,
two,
shit!
and then the night
That's a
before
good
you
point.
launched one in the building. So this is the fourth one he's seen in like 24 hours.
Can we please be more civilized?
Jesus, this brings back bad memories.
These are skeletons.
War
God.
flashbacks. Roland has PTSD. She's just like drops the cloak.
So records Goddard and Roland.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, do you guys want to do like I can't do
Yes.
Sunday. So
Yes.
it's just going to be difficult. It's
Yeah,
going
'cause
to be
you-
difficult for me because of travel, and I'm basically going to be doing like 40 hours in 3 days
Ooh, snap!
when I go out there. Yeah, I got to come back on Thursday, so I'm flying out Monday. I'm leaving at 8 a.m. It's a 5.5-hour flight. I'll get there at 10:15, and then I've got to work from because of the 3-hour time difference. And then I'll work until I don't know.
In the stream here.
Yeah, we can do
Talk
that.
about it. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Thank you guys for showing up. See you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.